Do you want to learn more about Jesus this festive season? Well then carry on watching. Hello and welcome to day 13 of Bible Study to Christmas, a series where I go through a whole bunch of scriptures each day and we go through it together, we analyze it, and it's just a learning and growing opportunity for us all. If you're new here, my name's Michelle. I just make a bunch of videos is all I can say. That rhymed. My videos range from my daily life as a technical theatre student to some creative artsy stuff and recently some faith-based content as well. Feel free as always to comment any questions or points you would like to add or even critiques. Just make sure to be kind and respectful to everyone because this is a learning environment for us all. And lastly, warning, I am by no means a biblical expert. The things that I say in my videos are purely my own perceptions of what I'm reading, along with guidance from sources that I find. I'm gonna stop babbling and not waste any more of your precious time. Grab your Bible and let's go. Today we will be reading John chapter 13 verses 1 to 17. Before the Passover celebration, Jesus knew that his hour had come to leave this world and to return to his Father. He had loved his disciples during his ministry on earth, and now he loved them to the very end. It was time for supper, and the devil had already prompted Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had given him authority over everything, and that he had come from God and would return to God. So he got up from the table, took off his robe, wrapped a towel around his waist, and poured water into a basin. Then he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel he had around him. When Jesus came to Simon Peter, Peter said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You don't understand now what I'm doing, but someday you will." "No," Peter protested. "You will never ever wash my feet." Jesus replied, "Unless I wash you, you won't belong to me." Simon Peter exclaimed, "Then wash my hands and head as well, Lord, not just my feet." Jesus replied, "A person who is bathed all over does not need to wash except for the feet, to be entirely clean. As your disciples are clean, but not all of you," for Jesus knew who would betray him. That is what he meant when he said, "Not all of you are clean." After washing their feet, he put on his robe again and sat down and asked, "Do you understand what I was doing? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, because that's what I am. And since I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet. I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. I tell you the truth, slaves are not greater than their master, nor is the messenger more important than the person who sends the messenger. Now that you know these things, God will bless you for doing them." So this reading takes place at the last meeting that Jesus has with his disciples before he is arrested. And verse 1 will give us some context into when this feast took place. See, Jesus knew the events that were soon to happen, and he also knew that he would be betrayed by his very own disciple, Judas. He would use these last few special hours to prepare his disciples for what was to come and to serve them as a good shepherd does. Jesus knew the authority that he had. He knew that he had come from God and that he was bound to go back to him. Yet he was willing to serve others despite this authority and power. In verse 4 to 5, he washes the feet of the disciples. He did the job of the lowest servant in a household, and he didn't think of himself as higher than others. This just shows how his actions speak louder than words, and it also refers to when he was talking about the good shepherd who is willing to sacrifice himself for others. Of course, Peter was shocked by what Jesus was doing, and he objected. However, Peter had to accept his humble service in order to be part of him. Overall, this would be a lesson of humility. In verse 12 to 14, Jesus explains what he did and why he did it, and that he expects his disciples to follow this example. See, Jesus lived as a constant lesson on how to act. He tells them to be willing to wash others' feet. So what can we learn? Overall, this extract just shows how much Jesus was willing to give. It provides evidence that he is the Good Shepherd. He knows that he will sacrifice his life. Despite being betrayed by one of his own, he's not moping around, he's not overly saddened. He just shows love for every one of his disciples, and he wants to teach them one last lesson. He does the job of a servant and washes his disciples' feet. He does the job that none of his disciples are willing to do for each other, but he asks his disciples to follow this example from now on. We as followers of Jesus need to be willing to serve each other as well as the people we don't know, our friends, and our enemies. We need to step off from this pedestal of pride and show humility. It takes very little to serve others, and you don't need a bucket load of money or highly sophisticated skills. It just takes a Jesus attitude, because he says slaves are not greater than their masters, nor is the messenger more important than the one who sends the message. We are all equal, and we are all here to help each other. People will hurt us and betray us, but despite this, we can still spread love and humanity. So my challenge to you today is to think of how you can serve others this festive season, whether it be through your church or through your own thing. Please comment it down below. I would love to hear what you've come up with, as creative or simple as it may be. Thank you so much for sitting through this Bible study with me. I really hope that you learned something and that it touched you in some way. Feel free to comment any questions or points that you would like to add. Also comment your favorite verse or point that you took away from this video today. I would love to hear your perspectives. Please subscribe to stay tuned for this series so that you can be notified every time I post a video and you can do your little Bible study. Have a beautiful and blessed day, and I will see you for day 14 of our Bible study to Christmas. Bye!